are here thanks to Maison La Regina Hotel, and my guest is James, who is a wonderful person. And you are a traveler.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to speaking to you. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, can you tell me your history from the beginning?
From the beginning. Wow.
Yes,
How much
when
time
it
do you have?
started.
Okay, no problem. So, really turning the clocks back a long time ago, when I was a little boy, I was very, very lazy. I had no drive, no motivation to do anything, and I would lie in bed all day. As I got a little bit older, when I left school, I found things that I started to enjoy and started to maybe gain in confidence a little bit. And I started for fun, I started racing motorbikes because I always liked motorbikes. And one day I had a very big accident and broke my legs, and I found myself in hospital, and the doctor said, you may not be able to walk again. And I thought, this is a very big problem.
So young.
But ever since I was young, when I was a child and a teenager, whilst I was very lazy and would lie in bed all day and never do anything, I had a bit of a dream. I always used to think about it. And I've always wanted to try and row a boat across the Atlantic Ocean. But I never had the guts to do it. I was worried about what people would think of me. I didn't know if I could do it. So I decided that when I got out of hospital, I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew what I wanted to do. And so I decided that I was going to try and row across the Atlantic Ocean. I didn't know what I was doing, so I had to go and find people that had already rowed across and get advice and help from them. And then I had to go and find how to raise all the money through sponsorship and things. I had to learn about boats. But I managed to do it. Usually you do it as a 2-man or a 4-man, and I wanted to do it with someone, but for some reason no one would join me. So I had to do it on my own, and it was the best decision that I ever made. It took 110 days to row from La Gomera in the Canary Islands to Antigua in the Caribbean. It was a tough trip. Ran out of food 230 miles from Antigua. But I did it. I mean, I could talk for hours about what it was like to be out there, but that was the first thing that I did. And I say to young people that when you do something that you have not done before, good things will happen for you. There has to be an action to get a reaction. And I worked hard to make the row happen. And during my preparation for that, I met someone who was also rowing across the Atlantic, but at a different time in a different boat, and we just became really good friends. Now, he was a very successful high altitude climber. The guy had been to the top of Everest, I think it was like 5 times, and he invited me out to climb Mount Everest. And I didn't even know if I could do it, but I thought, if I don't do it, I will regret it for the rest of my life. I don't even know, but I want to try. So I set about trying to raise the funds and the sponsorship, and it was very hard.
Excuse me, I will interrupt because people think that in order to make wonderful things you have to have money, and you are good. I don't know how to say.
That's all I can say.
Yes,
you are absolutely.
You showed that you don't have to have money. You just have to have idea, right?
You are absolutely correct. A lot of people say to me, how do you do this? You must have loads of money.
Yes.
And I say, no, it's the opposite. I don't really have any money at all. But if you want something enough, you will find a way to get it. There are 3 things that stop people doing what they want to do. The main thing is money. They say, I'd like to do that, but I have no money. Well, actually, you can find the money. Either get another job or save or find sponsorship.
Yes.
It is possible to get sponsorship. People are doing it. I have managed to do it. So it is possible. It's difficult, but it's possible. So that really answers that question. Money is really not an excuse because you can find it if you want it enough. The second one is time. People say, I don't really have the time to do this. Well, everyone has the same 24 hours.
Yes.
It just depends what's a priority for you. If it's a priority sitting in front of the TV every night,
Yes.
then maybe you need to rethink what you do with your time. And the third one is, well, I don't know how to do it. And I didn't know how to do it, but you learn. And if you want something enough, the trick is to find people who have already managed to do what you want to do and say, I would like to do this. Can you help me? Can you teach me? And most people will. Most people will. I've never ever had someone say, no, I'm not going to help you. And so if you want something enough, there's a way to do it. You don't have to be rich to do these things, because I am not rich. And so, yeah.
Besides, I think the world helps you, right?
The world helps you, but you have to put yourself out there. I say to kids, because we can talk about it in a minute, I do a lot of work with young people, and I say, look, the world is waiting for you.
Yes.
There is so much opportunity out there in this world. But opportunity doesn't knock on your door and say, I'm here to help you. You have to go out there and get it. And when you do that and you open yourself up, good things will happen for you. And I also say to kids, if you treat people in a way that you would like to be treated, you'll be amazed at the things that come your way. So after Everest, I managed to do it. I managed to stand on top of the world. It was very, very difficult. And on the way back down, I really struggled. I didn't know, but I had a very bad lung infection. I was very, very poorly. I managed to get back down. And then I found myself in hospital for 2 weeks, having a bad chest infection. And I was lying in hospital, and I thought to myself, wouldn't it be a great idea to cycle around the world? So I got myself better, and a year later I set out from London and cycled 18,000 miles around the world. And I had a goal, and it wasn't just to cycle around the world. It was to cycle around the world and try and speak in a school in every country, because I just naturally fell into speaking in schools and things, and I'm an ambassador for the Scouts. And so
you gave lectures to the kids?
Yeah, I gave lectures to kids on the adventures that I've had, what I've learned from them, and how if I can do it, they can do whatever they want to do. I'm not telling them that they should climb Everest or row across the Atlantic or anything like that, because if everyone on this planet was like me, the world would be a crazy place. But everyone should and is entitled to have a dream or something they want to do. But sadly, the world we live in now, sometimes people, human beings, have a terrible habit of telling other people what they should or shouldn't do. And there are lots of young people out there that are told, do this, do that, do this. And I say to young people, when you find something that you love, take that and run with it. And each and every young person out there is special. Everyone has something that they're really, really good at. It could be anything, but everyone has gifts that they're good at.
I know. When I was young, nobody told me, like you tell me now, do something you love, right? And that's that's the problem. Because young people are told, have a good education.
Which is useful,
But they don't think about what they love.
If you
they tell you to earn money, right?
Money is very useful because we need it to survive and live. But what is more important is doing something that you love. Being happy and doing something that you love will make you happy. It does not make sense to do something that you don't like, and every day you get up and you think, I don't want to be doing this, but they pay you a little bit more money.
Yes.
That doesn't make sense. So
now I know that. I just wanted to say that many years ago, when I was young, nobody told me this. What you are now telling young people. That's
the world is changing, and the world is changing fast. And if you like something and you're good at it, there is always a way to monetize it. So, okay, here is an example. If 10 years ago or 20 years ago, someone said, you could be a professional YouTuber and you make videos about your stuff and that's your job, people would say,
you're crazy.
That's not a job, are you crazy? Now look.
Yes.
There are many professional filmmakers, content creators, that it's their job. They film things that they love and they upload them on YouTube. They have a big following, and that's just one example. Many years ago, if you said to me, I like making cakes, and then maybe someone would say, well, there's no money in making cakes. Well, that's not true. You know, there are many people who make a living out of the things that they love, and that's the key, I think, and that's what I believe. So really, that's kind of what I say to young people is, don't let other people tell you what you can or cannot do. You make the decision, and the only thing between someone where they currently are and someone who is currently working towards and have their dream life, the only thing in the middle is just work. There's no special magical recipe. There's no magic required. The magic is to decide what you want to do and start working towards it. And even if in the beginning no one believes in you and no one's interested, if you work hard enough, naturally you will inspire other people, and someone will help you. I can tell you that for a fact, because it's happened to me many times. People said to me years ago, when are you going to get a real job? When are you going to stop messing about and doing all these silly adventures? This is not a job. Well, guess what? It is my job now. And so there is a way to do things. And now, you see, if you'd have said to me when I was 15, 16 years old, I was very lazy, I would lay in bed all day, didn't believe in myself. And when I got a job, I think I was like 18, 19, and I got a job and I got fired because I didn't turn up, I was lazy. And if you'd have said to me then, James, by the time you're 36 years old, you will be the only person on the planet that's rode an ocean, cycled around the world, climbed Everest, you will have written a book, and now you'll be flying a gyrocopter around the world, giving talks in schools as you go, I'd say that's not possible. That cannot be me. But here I am doing it. And if I can do it, then there is no reason why any other young person, or I suppose anyone, can't go after something they want. It's simply a choice in your brain. Are you going to make the choices that you want? Are you going to do something you want to do or not? Because what will happen is you will either do something that you want to do, even if the outcome doesn't work out, you will try, or you won't. And what will happen is you'll either do something or you'll make an excuse. And what tends to happen is human beings are very good at convincing themselves that actually, maybe it's not a good idea to do that. Because a human being, their brain, the way we're programmed, we will always gravitate towards, we will always go towards what's the easiest thing. And working towards your dream or a business or a goal or whatever it is probably going to be hard. It's not easy. So naturally, you probably think, well, that's too hard.
Besides, I think people don't try enough.
Yeah, they don't.
They try twice, and if it doesn't work, they say, no, it's not possible.
And I'll tell you something. I have been rescued twice. Once in the Atlantic Ocean. I have crossed the Atlantic Ocean 2.5 times. I've rowed across it, I've sailed across it, and I tried to pedalo in a special boat across it with someone else, and we were rescued. I also tried to row a boat from Western Australia to Mauritius, and the boat rolled over halfway and I've been rescued. So I say to kids, listen, anyone who has achieved anything worth talking about and you look at them as maybe a successful person, I can guarantee you that at some point along the way they will have failed. Because it's not possible to achieve anything great or do anything worthwhile without it going wrong along the way. That's just how it is.
We are not taught to make mistakes.
Yeah, well, you have to
Right?
make mistakes, because the only way to learn is to make mistakes and then go back and do it again.
And again, yes.
There's very famous saying, Thomas Edison, the famous inventor, it took him 10,000 times to invent the light bulb.
Yes.
I mean, most people would have given up.
Yes, and when he was trying for the 1000th time, he was asked, "Do you know what is the made of?" And he said, "No, I don't know, but I don't know what it is not made of."
Yeah. He said, "What I can tell you is I can give you 9,900 examples of how it's not made." And he's right. He's very clever, and he achieved what he wanted to in the end, and many other things. And that's the same. Unfortunately, human beings in the world we live in now have maybe become, not everyone, a little bit soft. And what I mean by that is, as soon as something doesn't work out, they go, "Oh, it wasn't meant to be, I'll just give up, I'll try something else." Or
we live in very comfortable conditions.
Human beings are way too comfortable now. Everything's too easy. And as soon as most people, not everyone, but as soon as people experience some kind of adversity or setback or something goes wrong, they feel sorry for themselves and think, I'll give up, I won't make it. And the only difference between people who are doing things and maybe people who are not is those people that are doing things just didn't give up. They're actually not any smarter individuals. They tend not to be. They're just people who tried once more, and then they got what they wanted. And these are the messages that I share with young people. It's really, really important that they learn these things. So, and for some reason, young people listen to me. Maybe, I don't know why, maybe in 10 years' time when I'm old and I've got no hair and I'm grey, they won't listen to me. But right now, they do. And because I really struggled when I was young, and now I'm doing okay, doing my thing, I feel like it's my duty to give back to young people and share with them what I've learned. And hopefully, if maybe I can inspire a few young people to actually believe that they can do anything they want to do, then that's a good thing, and I will continue to do that. And so this is what I'm about. A lot of people, someone asked me about a year ago, they said, "What's James Ketchell about? What are you about? What do you stand for?" And I said, I'm a guy who has a passion for adventure and sharing stories, but I'm also about inspiring young people to pursue their own goals and dreams. That's what I do, and I do a lot of work with young people.
James, can we come back to your trip around the world by
gyrocopter?
Yes.
It's a gyrocopter. Yes, of course we can. And again, this is something that I've been thinking about for a very, very long time. Again, when I was younger, I always had a passion for flying, but I thought I'll never be able to be a pilot. I'm not clever enough. I don't have enough money to learn. And that's not true. You don't have to. It was possible. And so I decided that I wanted to learn how to fly, and I wanted to do something slightly different. And I learnt about a person who tried to fly a gyrocopter around the world, but he was not successful. And I went to meet him, and he said, "It never worked for me, but at some point in the future, it will work for someone else." And I just thought, wow, that's incredible. And he said, "Anything I can do to help you, I will." And I thought to myself, I don't even know if I can do this, but I want to try. I want to try. And so I thought, well, I've got to take it in steps. So I saved up and learned how to fly. It wasn't as difficult as I thought. And so I learned how to fly. And then I thought, oh my goodness, I need to find the money to buy a gyrocopter. And that's not that easy. But I thought, well, if I can do all these other things, why can't I at least try to find the money to get the gyro? So I went about sending all the emails out and making telephone calls to companies that had already sponsored me in the past and said, this is what I'm doing. And I thought to myself, there can be two missions here. No one has ever flown a gyrocopter successfully all the way around the world, so I can try to do that. But whilst I'm going around the world, I can continue the work that I do with young people and speak in school, and that's what I'm doing. So the mission is to fly my gyrocopter around the world and inspire 1 million young people to pursue their own goals and dreams. And that is what I'm trying to do. That's it. That's all it. That's it. I'm not doing anything else. That's all I'm doing.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so it's brilliant. So the route will take me out. Well, I started in England, came in France, did quite a bit in France, and then into Germany, went to the south of Germany, then up to the north, then to the east, and then I went into, and now I'm here in Poland, and then I will move up to Lithuania, and then Estonia, then all the way across Russia to Alaska, and then into Canada, and then into America, across to the east coast, and then back up into Canada, then over to Greenland, Iceland, the Faroe Islands, Scotland, and then back down to England. So it's, in order to say that I've successfully flown around the world, I need to fly nearly 40,000 kilometres. It's a long way.
How long will it take?
I'm hoping that it will take about 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to be back in the UK around late August, early September. That's the plan, fingers crossed.
Okay.
And I just have to take it one day at a time. Yeah. And people can track me on the website. On my website I have a tracker, and there's 2 charities that so everything I do is always about young people. So there's 2 charities that I'm raising awareness and money for. The first one is a charity called Kindled Spirit, and Kindled Spirit look after young girls that are trafficked. This is a very big problem in the world, so they will help rehabilitate them, they will find them a job or put them back into school, because they're very young. What happens is very bad. And I made a promise to the person who runs this charity that I will try my best to help them and raise funds for them. And so that's one charity. And the other charity is an organisation called Over the Wall, and they run camps for young people that are very, very sick, very, very poorly. And again, I like what they do, so I'm using this trip to try and raise funds for them too. Yeah. So I've been working on this project for nearly 3 years. So what people see is, this is very interesting that people understand this and they recognise it. See, people might see me flying around the world in a newspaper or on the TV, and they say, look at this guy, he must have loads of money. What they don't see is all the effort that I have put in to make this happen over the last 3 or 4 years, because no one sees that. And there's a very famous saying that the people who are rewarded in public are the people who've sacrificed everything in private. So the work that people never see is the work you have to do in order to become, for that people see. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yes.
People see me on, maybe they see me on the news.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
They don't
see everything. That's why I'm here. You know. Yeah.
Okay, I also wanted to ask you, because you sacrificed many things, and you don't have family, right?
No, I have.
Is it possible?
Maybe one day I'd like
day.
to. I have my mum and dad, and I have my brother, and he has a partner, and they have a little boy. So it's my job to try and be a cool uncle. He's 4 years old, and I love him very much. He's a very good boy. And so I'm an uncle at the moment, but it would be a little bit tricky if I was married and had kids. I probably wouldn't go away quite so much, but I can do it now. But it depends what's the priority and what you want to do, really. Yeah. Maybe in the future, who knows? Yeah, and so I think it's going to be a very interesting trip. I'm really looking forward to meeting great people. And here is a perfect example. I was flying yesterday into to Warsaw, and I have a puncture on the tyre, and so I didn't really know anyone here. But sure enough, 24 hours later, I'm sitting here with great people, and I've managed to get some help. And there's people that I now know and have been trying to help me. And human beings are kind. And I say to kids that it doesn't matter what country you come from. It doesn't matter what language you speak. It doesn't matter what skin colour you have. It doesn't matter what religion you practice. 99.99% of human beings on this planet are kind, generous, caring. They want to help you and support you. And I have experienced that. Again, I've experienced it in the last 24 hours of being here in Poland. People have been so good to me, and I love it. So they have helped me. So yeah, it's going to be an incredible journey. So if people want to follow me, they can follow me at jamesketchell.net, and I have a tracker, a live tracker. So when I'm flying, people can see. And then I have I have a YouTube channel too, and I'm uploading videos on YouTube, and I have Instagram. So yeah.
Today you had to leave from Poland, but because of this problem with your tire, you stayed here, right?
Yes. Yes. I was supposed to fly to Lithuania today, but I was unable to because there's a hole in the tire, so I can't leave. So I'm now sorting that out, and I'll be in Poland for another few days yet before I leave.
So tomorrow you are flying to Italy.
Tomorrow I have to get on a plane, fly to Italy, to pick up the tyre that I need, bring it back, and then probably on Tuesday I can leave. And I suppose the thing here is, it would be very easy to say, "Well, it's broken," or "What do I do?" And it's quite a lot of effort to fly to Italy and back in one day to sort this out. But one of the things I talk about with young people is taking ownership and taking responsibility for things. It's very easy. We live in a world now where people blame other people for things not going their way or not getting what they want. It's always someone else's fault.
Yes.
And so I don't like that. And so sometimes you have to put yourself out there and make something happen and sort things out. So a perfect example is, I'm here in Poland, I have a problem with the aircraft, and I could say, well, who's going to sort it out for me? But instead, I have to go and sort it out. So I have to, it is possible that maybe I could have a tyre sent here or something, but I don't know how long it will take. I don't know, it may get lost. And I need to take responsibility of the challenge, the problem I have, and I can't expect anyone else to do it. I have to sort it out. So that's why I'm getting on a plane, flying to Milan, picking up the bit that I need and coming back here. And then that way I have dealt with it, it's sorted, and then I can move on. So that's the way I kind of look at it. Yeah. So yeah, fingers crossed everything goes okay, but I'm sure it will do. Yeah.
I think you do all these things because you are very optimistic.
I have to be.
Everything is in your head.
Everything we do in life is in your head. And I have a funny story about that.
Yes.
I wanted to call my book, because I have a book that I wrote, and I wanted to call the book "It's All Mental." But the publisher said, no, you can't have that on the front cover of a book. People will they'll misunderstand it and think you're talking about mental health and people who are crazy. And so I said, okay, so I changed the name. But my next book, I will call it "It's All Mental." Because I want people to believe that everything they do in life is in their head. And it's whether you can unlock up here to start believing and start developing the right positive mindset and having a good attitude. People in life who do well are usually people that have a good attitude. You don't even have to be smart or clever to do well in life now. You just have to be positive and be someone that keeps trying. If you keep trying, by default, you'll always get where you want to be. That formula of never giving up will never fail you. It's like I said earlier. The difference between people who do stuff and the people that don't, they just don't give up. So, I want to try to be positive and optimistic. I think that if you are, good things will happen for you. But if you're closed off and you're negative and you're cynical and you're always looking for the worst, then of course nothing good is going to happen for you. It never will do. But if you're open and positive and you try to work things out, good things will come your way. They do. And when bad things happen, and they do, if you approach them and deal with them in a positive way, you'll get through them.
I know people when they have problems, they
blame other people.
Right? And I think that problems are opportunities, chances masked in problems, right?
It's funny you say that. They are. There's a very famous saying, and that is, every grey cloud has a silver lining. And whenever you have a problem, there'll always be something good that comes off the back of it.
Yes.
But you'll never see it at the time.
Yes,
you'll only see it looking back.
Yes, at the beginning you see just the problem.
Yeah.
Don't see the gift packed.
Absolutely, and it's all about how you look at things.
Yes.
And up here is what we're talking about. So yeah.
Okay, what else I can ask you about? Have you got other plans after you come back?
I'm often asked what I'm going to do after I've flown around the world. The true answer is I just want to focus on trying to get around the world safely and get back and complete the trip. But I can tell you something very interesting. No human being has circumnavigated the globe via air, sea and land. So I've already cycled around the world. If I can fly around the world, which will be by far the hardest because it's complicated with weather challenges, airspace, permission, all I then need to do is sail around the world. Now, believe it or not, that is still difficult, but believe it or not, it's a damn sight easier than trying to fly around the world. There's no permissions required. You can just go out and go. So maybe I will try and do that at some point. I have some sailing experience and I have some ocean experience, so maybe I'll try and do that.
Okay.
We'll see. Yeah.
Okay. Are you afraid about your life?
That's a good question.
Am
I afraid of things?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm afraid of things. I'm a human being just like everyone else. I still get scared. I still get nervous. I still think, I don't know if I can do this. And everyone does. And I still get that. And I remember before I started my gyrocopter trip around the world, I was very worried. And I thought, I don't know if I can do this. I've bitten off more than I can chew. But somehow here I am doing it. I haven't finished it yet. I hope I can. But I'm out here trying. And yeah, sometimes I'm afraid of letting people down. You see, I may be the only guy that's physically flying the gyrocopter around the world, so I'm kind of out on my own. But there's a team of people that are helping me and looking after me and giving me advice, and there are sponsors, people that have put money into the project. There's the charities that I'm raising money for. There's there are thousands of kids on social media that follow me, and maybe they look up to me. So I'm representing them as well. So I have a lot of responsibility on my shoulders. So I get scared. Am I going to let these people down? I hope not. But I don't think like that, because your brain can be your greatest ally, but it can also be your worst enemy.
Yes.
And it's how you choose to. But I'm only human, and sometimes my brain plays tricks on me, and I think, and then I have to snap out of it and think, okay, I can do this, I can do it. Just one more day. And the only way you can achieve anything worth doing is to break it down into manageable chunks. So right now, I'm not even thinking about flying around the world. All I'm doing is just flying from one day after the next. One town, one country, one town,
From
one flight to
another.
another. That's it. I'm not thinking. I have some big challenges later on this year in the flight. I have to fly across the North Atlantic. It's very, very dangerous and risky in a little aircraft. There's nowhere to land. You're flying over water for hours and hours and hours. But if I think about it, it blows my brain apart. And it's such a long way away. There's no point in thinking about it. So right now, I'm just taking it one step at a time. And when I climbed Everest, I never ever thought about being on top of the world until I was there. It was just one day at a time, one day, one day, one day. And when you are able to, if you can develop the ability to break things down in your head into manageable chunks, they somehow seem to get easier.
Okay, so we have general plan and step by step.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that's the only way you can do things, is to break them down. 100%. Yeah.
Okay. What was biggest problem with planning this trip?
Okay, so what has been the biggest challenge with this trip?
Challenge, yes.
I think raising all the money to get to the start line was difficult, but over 3 years I managed to pull it all together. I think the biggest challenge will be something that I will never have control over, and that is the weather. I can't control the weather, and my little aircraft I can only fly in good weather. I can't fly in high winds and rain and cloud. I have to be careful. So because I can't do anything about the weather, what I can do is learn about it and understand it. So I only focus on things that I can control. If I can't control something, I don't worry about it. So that was a particularly difficult element of the project to get my head around. But now I understand about weather, and one thing that I have learned, especially out in the Atlantic, things change. So you may have bad weather, but at some point you will have good weather, because that's what happens.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask. If you start and you change that the weather will be good and everything changes.
Yeah, everything does change. In fact, I was going to start this trip in December, and then I wasn't ready, and then realised that was the wrong time of year to start.
Too dangerous?
Well, the weather's just not good enough. I mean, you can have days when it is good, but if you want to do something, you have to think, well, how can I make this as easy for myself as I can? And so if I'm trying to fly a small aircraft around the world, it makes sense to try and do it at the right time of year when the weather is at its best. So that's just one element of this project. Then you have the different permissions and things required to travel through certain countries. Luckily, I have a team. I have a company helping me with that, and they're amazing. And they get the permits for me to fly. I wouldn't be able to do this around the world if it wasn't for them. General Aviation Services, they're amazing. And it's just lining everything up. The flying is the easiest part. It's everything else that goes with it. Yeah. But I think if I had a message for people, I would say stop thinking and start working toward your dreams now. The hardest part is taking the first step and just believing that you can do something. I'll tell you something. When I rode across the Atlantic, it took me nearly 4 months to do it. It was a long time. I was very, very slow. But the easiest thing I've ever managed to do in my life is sit in a boat and pull the oars and row 3,000 miles across the Atlantic. The hardest thing I've ever had to do was just believe that I could do it. Once I got out there, I thought, oh, why did I put this off for so long? And I say to kids, and really anyone that will listen to me, things are never as difficult as you might think. And that is a very big problem. People just can't get their head around that. you know, you'll be putting things off for a long time. Oh, I can't do it. And then maybe you decide to do it and you think, that wasn't so bad. How many times does that happen to everyone? Mm-hmm. And so now I'm aware of that. So I was nervous about this trip, but I've started. I don't even know if I can finish. I hope so. But I've started, I'm doing it, and I'm here. So I'm trying.
Mm-hmm. It's fascinating. You will meet many fascinating people around the world.
I hope so. I'm already sitting with lovely, kind, fascinating people that are helping me. So
nice
I'm
hear.
sure I will meet many more. I think I will. And it's all about memories. And again, I say to young people, don't get too caught up about trying to have money. What is more important is having great memories and things like that. Material possessions can come and they can go, but great memories will stay up here forever.
No one will take them away from
They can. No one never can. They're the most valuable thing you can ever have. I know, back at home, I know lots of people who have lots and lots and lots of money, but they are not very happy. Some of them are not very nice people, and some of the happiest people I know and the most successful are people that actually maybe don't have lots and lots of money. And it depends how you measure success.
I know.
But to me, success is, are you fulfilling your potential? Mm-hmm. If you're not fulfilling your potential, I don't think that's success. Success is fulfilling your potential and being happy. Mm-hmm. That's my idea of success. Yeah.
For me, I uncovered minimalism.
Yeah.
I am fascinated with this, and I can see that people go to the work they don't like, earn money, sometimes a lot of money, buy things that they don't even need, just to show other people that they are important.
It's crazy.
Yes, it's
and
crazy.
Those people.
And buying things means degrading the environment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. So, you don't need to have, and I can tell you a story actually. When I cycled around the world, I wanted to prove to young people that you don't have to have the best, the biggest, the most expensive of everything. So I actually had a sponsor who would have bought me any bike I wanted, but I deliberately bought a second-hand cheap bike and I cycled it around the world. And I did that to demonstrate to young people that it's okay. You don't have to have the biggest, the most expensive of everything. Mm-hmm. And I made the right decision. I still have that now.
Yes, I know. People think that in order to have great feelings, do great things, they must have great equipment, and you proved it's not true.
That's correct. It's not true. You just have to have the will to want to do something. Yeah, yes. That's it.
I'm so happy that I could come here and talk with you.
Yeah, I mean, things happen for a reason, don't they?
Yes.
And so, yeah, I'm very happy to be here myself as well. Yes, and whoever watches this and listens to this, I'd like to thank them for their time. Mm-hmm. Time is the most valuable thing we have. Because it doesn't matter how much money you have, you can't buy time. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm a little bit older. I'm aware of that, so I try to make the most of my time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I try to teach young people that too.
Mm-hmm. Myself, I can also confirm what you said, that you need a great idea. You don't have to have money, because I started my blog. Few months ago, and now I can see that miracles happen.
They can. Look, you're doing it, and we're here. It's happening.
For me, it's incredible.
And what we'll do is, once I have successfully flown around the world, fingers crossed, you and I will. I'm going to come back to Poland anyway, because I made a promise to someone that I would come back here and speak in some schools. Because right now the schools are on holiday. Mm-hmm. So as much as I want to speak in a school, I can't, because there's no kids here on holiday. So I made a commitment that I'm going to come back and speak in some schools. And when I do come back, you and I will chat again.
Okay, we will try.
So we can do a
make
version
this
2.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that miracles happened because today in the morning I couldn't think that in the end of this day I will speak with such wonderful person as you are.
That's very kind of you. Thank you. And thank you ever so much for having me.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. I think it's great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I'd like to say a massive thank you to Hotel Mamison La Regina here in Warsaw. The hotel is absolutely fantastic and they have very, very kindly given us this room to do this interview. So if you find yourself here in Warsaw, check this place out. It is amazing. Thank you ever so much, guys.